In this video I want to share my thoughts on Alpine Linux after having used it for about half a year. I made the initial installation video when I installed Alpine Linux on my Libre-rooted ThinkPad X200, so this laptop right here. I made it in, I think, June it was, start of June, and yeah, I've used it ever since, and I have also installed it on a virtual private server over which I host my website, my email, XMPP server, kind of this stuff, but also a Git server and a few other things. So here I just want to kind of share some thoughts on it. And I think the biggest thing which which entails all the rest is that Alpine is very minimal. It's very minimal, and that also makes it very fast. Because if you have less stuff on your system and less software running simultaneously, and the software you have running is more minimal, it of course uses less memory, it uses less CPU cycles, it makes everything feel faster. And I have really felt that, especially on like an older machine like this X200 ThinkPad. I mean, goddammit, Intel Core 2 Duo, like what? I mean, that's not the fastest processor, but everything works fine. And yeah. But what it also means to have like a minimal system and have like small packages is that it makes everything very hackable, I have found. And so it feels like I have more control over this system than, for example, a Debian box. Especially also because of systemd, or the lack of systemd in Alpine. Because Alpine uses OpenRC, as you may know, and I found OpenRC to just be a bit, well, not a bit, but to just be better, like to be more hackable, I can wrap my head around it more. I can it's more transparent. That's maybe what I want to say than something like systemd. I mean, systemd has more features, it does more stuff. I mean, that's kind of the point of systemd. But it's also, and like for a lot of stuff, it may be easier to do this with systemd, especially because, most major distributions use systemd, so you find a lot of stuff on it on the internet, on Stack Overflow and whatnot. But I have found with OpenRC, it's kind of just, it's more hackable, I found. And that also, for example, when it comes to like setting up services and all that, it's just more transparent with because you have two directories, really. That's initd and confd, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you put a script in etc initd, you can use it with rc service and then the script. So for example, that's the wrong way around. So like this, and it's just there, and you don't have to daemon reload, and you don't have to put it in lib systemd user something, whatever. Yeah. So that stuff like that always really annoys me with systemd. But that's of course just surface level. I mean, beneath that is again, OpenRC is simpler software, it's more minimal software, it's more efficient software, it takes up less system resources, it does less stuff in the background, and all this kind of stuff. Alright, so, and this also is very relevant on a server because there you have more daemons running than on a laptop like this. So you have, on a server you have of course also the SSHD daemon, but also stuff like Caddy, so a web server, or Medi, the email server I use, or the Git daemon, and stuff like that. Also Prosody for XMPP, and stuff like that. Alright. So if I run this neofetch again, you will see that I have now installed quite a lot of packages, and I feel like, I don't know for sure if that's the case, but I feel like Alpine packages are smaller. So if you install the same amount of software, then on a other distribution, you will, by just the sheer quantity and number of packages, you will have more packages. At least it feels like to me. And on this system, I've tried out a lot of stuff. I've also installed, for example, I've installed Plover. That's for stenography. I mean, you can watch my video on keyboards to get. I talk a bit about that. Why I stopped trying that out. Okay, but it's a Python application, and I needed to install like a lot of pip programs for that and stuff like that. And I have not cleaned up the system, which I wanted to do, so it's kind of a bit well, more bloated than I would like it to be. But on the topic of packages, APK, so APK is the package manager for Alpine. APK is honestly, it's great. It's very fast. It just works. It doesn't do random stuff. I don't know. It doesn't kind of leave your system in an inconsistent state. It feels like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just that with time I've kind of learned more how to not break my system, because in my early like kind of Linuxy days when I used like Ubuntu, I would have problems with apt, and I would have to do like dpkg or what is it called, like reconfigure and stuff like that to fix stuff. Maybe it's just that I've gotten more experienced, but I feel like APK is, yeah, just better, just a better package manager. Yeah, I don't really have that much to say about it because it just works. So, but there are a few packages I have not found in the Alpine repositories, which are, I also want to say, the Alpine repositories are very big. Like, I found most software there. And the software I haven't found, because I'm on stable, I could generally find in the Edge branch, and then either build myself or just kind of look, okay, where do they pull the software? And I've done this in like, especially like in the videos I did about self-hosting, for example, with MADI. I have gotten the MADI binary, because the Go project, I've gotten the MADI static binary from like the GitHub repository or not, and then I've just copied the OpenRC service file from the Edge repository, from the Alpine Edge repository, and stuff like that. But okay, so again, I've not found a few packages in the Alpine repositories. Most, like in particular, like, and most importantly, like Chromium. So I don't know, I don't remember if there's a Chromium package, but there is not a ungoogled Chromium package. And what I've used for that is Dbin. So, Dbin is a kind of standalone package manager for statically linked binaries or self-contained programs. So for Chromium, for example, it doesn't install it installs an app image. So, and I want to make a separate video on Dbin because it's been really useful. For example, I've also installed NeoFetch with Dbin. So if I search my history for NeoFetch, you will find here Dbin install NeoFetch, because NeoFetch is not in the default Alpine repositories. So yeah. Okay, next up I want to talk about also BusyBox. Because BusyBox is the userland of, well, userland, I think that's how you call it, of Alpine. So Alpine is not a GNU Linux distribution, because you don't have the GNU utils installed by default. It doesn't use them by default, but it's rather a kind of, well, you could call it BusyBox Linux distribution, because BusyBox replaces most, if not maybe all, of the GNU core utils. And I mean, BusyBox is great, to be honest. It's minimal. It's fast, it's functional, and yeah, I mean, I've for example done a video on ASH, the shell I'm using, and the shell that ships with Alpine by default and that is integrated in BusyBox. So if I, for example, do which sh and then lsl you will see that it just links to BusyBox. So yeah, and this is what I'm using, and it's been great. As I already made a video on that, so if that interests you, you can watch that. And so, but the thing, of course, with BusyBox is, because I mean, minimalism doesn't come at a cost, and one of the costs is that the BusyBox core utils have less features than their GNU counterparts. So, for example, they have less flags, so they have less functionality, less stuff you can do with them. And in my experience, this has not been a problem. This has not been a problem for me in scripting, and also in most other things. But there was one instance where it was a problem for me, and that was when I wanted to diff to files in Emacs by using ediff. So ediff is just a Emacs like program functionality, so you can diff files like interactively. And I've done that in the video on Prosody, I think, where I diffed like the default config and my adjusted config. I wanted to diff them interactively. And ediff is really cool, because if you just run diff, you get a text file like back, which is not that interactive, or that like you can't intuitively really understand what's going on. Or you can, but not as intuitively. Okay, but I'm digressing. So, and it didn't work. When I tried it out, when I tried ediff out, it didn't work out of the box, which was kind of strange, because yeah, you would just expect something like that to work. And it took some time until I finally realized, well, it's expecting like the GNU diff util. And the GNU diff util, like the GNU diff program, has more options than the BusyBox diff program. But this was also, well, easily fixed, because I just installed it by doing apk add, I think it's diff utils. So if I info that, these are the GNU, yeah, GNU.org. These are the, like, this is the GNU diff utility. And it has more options than the BusyBox diff utility. So, and you can install like all of the GNU core utils if you need them. And so it's really, it's kind of nice to have the option to install the full-fledged kind of, well, I don't want to say bloated, but kind of bloated thing, but to not have it as a default, because that makes the system more, well, more minimal. I mean, that's what all of this is about, kind of, I think. And again, this minimalism really leads to a lot of things like increased speed and less system resources used. I mean, I've used, okay, so this is like at 1.6 gigabytes, but I have Chromium open on another workspace, so, you know, and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. It's just really nice. Let me think. So one thing I also want to mention is that Alpine splits up packages into the actual functional package, where you have like the binary and all the like configuration if the package needs it and stuff like that. And then you have a separate package for the documentation. So by default, Alpine packages do not include man pages. So if I type man here, I don't even have man installed. Like, I can not look at man pages here. And you might think, well, that's kind of bad and whatnot. Well, first of all, you can of course install man pages, but they are just not included by default. And this again makes the system more modular, makes it more minimal, makes it take up less disk space. And also, I have found that man pages really, like, I don't really need them that much, to be honest. And I mean, the whole, I don't want to rant about man pages now, because that's kind of a separate topic, but it kind of just, this is just another aspect of a kind of, yeah, approach to a system like this. So, yeah, because the man pages are not functionally necessary to run a program. Like, you don't need the man page for ls to run ls, you know, and stuff like that. I've also found that if you just use the H flag, this gives you, in most cases, all the information you need if you just need to quickly look up things. So that's also very nice. Oh, what do you mean very nice? But that also works, is what I want to say. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Like, if I run htop, if I can spell that, if I run htop and I look at what's running on my system, I mean, I can just go through it like in half a minute. Okay, udfd, that's for like hardware stuff. This is for networking. I don't know why there are two. I could probably kill this F0, but yeah, whatever. System log, this is for logging. ACPID, this is also for like hardware stuff. This is for setting up like my time and synchronizing my time, I think. Okay, Emacs, this is for Xorg, DWM, okay. That's an Emacs client. This ST is this one you see right here, running SH and then htop. Then there's another ST on a different workspace that is running my script to record videos. Then there's also like an ST window with ELSA mixer. Okay, these TTYs are just, well, TTYs. These two processes here are for GPG agent. So this is for like encrypting and decrypting files. This now is Chromium, hooray. Yeah, these are all Chromium processes. I think this dbus is also because I launched Chromium. I don't think that launches by default. And then this tmux session is for recording my videos. And that's it. Like, that's all the processes I have on the system right now. You will also notice I don't have Pulse Audio because I don't need it. Like, I have no use case for Pulse Audio on this system, at least, because I don't need to record. Like, one thing that Pulse is of course used for is to record like the actual like system audio, and I have not needed that until now, so I just haven't bothered installing it. So this external is really kind of my very minimal system, you could say. Well, if you kind of disregard the almost 1,000 packages I've installed. But when it comes to like actually the software that's running on it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. I hope I haven't missed anything. And I've already recorded this. If you have seen my first version of this video, there was an annoying like hum on the audio track. So I thought I'd just re-record it because I wasn't that happy with that video anyways. And I thought I'd just remake it like this. So yeah, I hope that kind of gave you an insight on my thoughts on Alpine. I would urge you to try it out if you are interested in this kind of stuff. Really, Alpine, like the installation is easy. The usage is easy. It just works. You can wrap your head around the whole distribution, how everything works, because everything is so minimal. And yeah, that's really kind of nice, I found. So yeah, try it out. If you have tried it out, let me know what you think. Maybe like let me know if you've stuck with it. Let me know your use case, but also let me know if you haven't, like if you've kind of abandoned the project again because it just didn't work for you. Maybe because of, like, for example, Muscle. So Muscle is the C library. Muscle is the C library that Alpine uses, so it doesn't use glibc. And this, I think, I've read, can be a deal breaker for some people. But again, for me, it hasn't, because I either install stuff from the Alpine repositories or install like a statically linked binary from Debian. At least so far, for all I've used it as is right now. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Have a nice day.